Weekends during the late summer and early autumn of my youth were often spent in the mountains of Wyoming with my father and my brother, Mike. We'd usually end our excursions by collecting firewood to take home for our wood stove. On one occasion, when I was 8 years old, we pulled off South Pass Highway onto a dirt road and parked near an outcropping of lodgepole pine. My father cranked the chainsaw into action, cutting an old tree that was already on the ground. My brother stacked the wood in the back of the pickup truck as I explored the forest. I wandered with my gaze on the forest floor, looking for tracks of the elk and deer that were migrating to lower elevations before the Rocky Mountain winter. We were in a section of dead forest killed by bark beetles. The wind was blowing and the pine trees were swaying. The trees creaked and cracked. The chainsaw buzzing sound was faint as I continued to explore. A gust of wind blasted through, and I heard a loud crack behind me. I turned to see a 60-foot pine tree falling toward me. I tried to run, but the tree came crashing down. The bark and branches scraped the back of my head, then tore through my flannel shirt and jeans, and ripped the skin off my neck, spine, hips, and the back of my thighs. I whiplashed to the earth. The weight of the tree compressed all of the air out of me, pinning me to the ground. With my last breath squeezed out of my chest, my consciousness followed, exiting my body. Suddenly, I was floating. An immediate sense of calmness prevailed. I didn't feel my body. In this suspended state, I drifted toward a transparent, concentric halos of light. A soft static sound, like when you're trying to find a radio station, faded in and out. The tranquility expanded the further I mingled with the circles of light. As I hovered into the refractions, I heard my name being called, sounding like an echo from the other side of the valley. And then, in an instant, the light, floating, and calm vanished. My body burned, my rib cage and chest convulsed me awake, and I was extremely frightened. Matt! Mike pulled at my arm. I heard the chainsaw and our Labrador, Nick, barking. I tried to breathe, but I couldn't take in any air. I felt my body trying to breathe me, but the burden of the tree was too great. Face down in the forest turf, I panicked and felt my body seizing. I sniffed, trying to breathe, smelling pine needles. "Dad, come here! A tree fell on Matt! Dad!" My back felt as if it was on fire. My brother was yelling, and then, like a candle blown out, everything vanished, turned off. No lights, no floating, nothing. Silence. I don't know how long I was gone. Enough time for Mike to run 100 yards away and gather my father and return to lift the dead tree off of me. When the tree's weight was released, air rushed back into my lungs. Breath and life returned as I opened my eyes. 25 years after the falling pine tree almost took my life, I found myself sitting next to a Buddhist yogi in a cave in eastern Tibet. My interest in yoga and Buddhism had taken me from Wyoming to graduate school in London, where I studied Indian philosophy and the Tibetan language, and eventually to Tibet, where I sought out teachings. The yogi was instructing me in the esoteric meditation practice known as Tumo, also known as inner fire practice. The purpose of Tumo is to create a psychic heat that rises in the body's central channel and incinerates mental habits of jealousy, pride, and anger, resulting in heightened levels of joy and bliss that evaporate into a non-dual state of meditative clarity. The ultimate aim of Tumo is nothing short of enlightenment. I twisted my body into yoga postures as instructed, though it was much different from the yoga class that I had attended in England and the United States. With the yogi observing, I repeatedly elevated myself from a standing position and whipped my legs into a full lotus before slamming seated to the ground that sent a shock up my spine. I'd then rotate my head in all directions and rub the energetic meridians of the body with my palms, all the while holding my breath for minutes at a time.